Greetings. Hello, everyone. This is your Tuesday. It is another edition of Geek Talk, giving entrepreneurs expert knowledge. And my name is Sabrina Lowery, and I am better known as the Tech Evangelist. I am the founder and chief technology officer of Sabrina Lowery Enterprises, LLC, where we bring you tech strategies, AI tools, and all the innovation that you need in order to have a solid foundation with technology in your business. I am also a realtor, 23 years now, the broker of Legacy Realty and Management LLC. We are based in Atlanta, Georgia, serving the metropolitan Atlanta area. That is 13 counties where we help homeowners, buyers, landlords, investors, and tenants find their dream homes, whether they are buying, they are selling, they are short term leasing, they are corporate renting, whatever that looks like for you. Housing counseling is my superpower. And I am delighted to be your broker. If you should need any real estate services, please go to Legacy Realty and Management.com. It'd be my pleasure to serve you. I am excited. I want to make sure that everyone knows we are here for another edition of our Women's History Month celebration. And because it is the end of March, believe it or not, the end of first quarter, we've got some knowledge to give entrepreneurs. And I've got a quick tip on behalf of Legacy Realty and Management for our homeowners this evening. If you have not already heard of homestead exemption, this is an opportunity for those homeowners to take a tax advantage in your local municipality. Check your local tax assessor for information on filing for your homestead exemption application on your primary residence. Unfortunately, to my investor audience, this is not applicable to us, and we cannot claim homestead exemptions on our investment properties, second homes, vacation homes, and such. So, I want to just encourage you, if you have not yet taken advantage of this quick application submission, homeowners, this is a quick tip for you. We are always giving expert knowledge. So let's segue. Let's make sure we get our audience in. Where are you tuning in from? Where are you broadcasting in from? I want to make sure that everyone knows that we are live this evening with our Geek Talk. And I want to introduce our very special guest as we wrap the finale episode for Women's History Month. And her name is Kimmisha Michels. And Kimmisha is here, and we want to say hello, Kimmisha. Welcome to Geek Talk.
Hello, everyone. Kimmisha Michels, Sabrina, thank you so much for having me as your guest this evening. I greatly appreciate it.
Absolutely. In celebration of Women's History Month, I am just honored and delighted to have you. I want to just honor you and give you your flowers this evening. So, why don't you just tell the people what it is you do and who you do it for? Introduce our audience to yourself and your business.
Um, well, I have a boutique style creative agency that specializes on business and brand development, innovation, strategy, and now system building using your mindset as a tool, because 72% of businesses complain about having mindset issues. So just imagine for a moment If 72% of businesses are complaining about mindset, who's really making the decision? Is it you or is it your nervous system? And if it's your nervous system making the decisions for you, it will have a profound effect on your business. This is how businesses get stuck, have identity issues, self sabotage, is because you're not in charge of your decision making. And so tonight, we're going to dive into it because I created a special program that helps you recognize those patterns so that you can interrupt it and reset your mindset and nervous system at the same time so that and one, not self sabotage, you get unstuck and you have clarity, and that when you make a decision, you know where you fall on the mindset map. So if you make better decisions, then it helps with preventing business closure and crisis.
Thank you so much for that, Kamisha. And for all of our audience members, Kamisha is a very, very special, talented tech expert, as I like to call us ladies in tech. She is also one of my fellow best-selling co-authors in our, excuse me, Ladies in Tech Volume 4, Building Careers Not Meant for Us. And we just did our book launch and we just celebrated all of the phenomenal co authors in this new release, best selling, number one on Amazon. Feel free to dive into the comments and ask us questions about our new book and how you can get your autographed copy. Not only that, but we also want to learn a little bit more about Kamisha before her entrepreneurial journey. So let's take it back for those that don't know you, right? I know that you have a story, and in honor of Women's Her Story Month, I would like for you to tell the audience what was Kamisha's journey before entrepreneurship?
Ooh, now, do you want that from the personal side or the business side?
Well, we're going to introduce our audience to Kamisha, Kim, Miss Michaels, you name it. Okay. So you give us the version that you would like us to know tonight.
So, the version that I don't talk about a lot, um, which I'm going to start sharing my story because that is one of the reasons why I actually got involved in tech and built my tech. I was in a narcissistic relationship, or actually a marriage. We dated a couple of years before we got married, and then we were married right at the 10-year mark before we got a divorce. And what I realized, and of course, this realization didn't happen overnight. It took another 10 years before I even really realized what was going on. But um, I know that during the marriage, he just went out of his way to steal all of my joy. He had me second guessing myself. He loved to gaslight. Oh my gosh, the gaslighting, that just like made his day. I mean, he would literally argue over what time the sun came up. If I said, "Oh, the sun came up around 6:40," "No, it didn't. It came up at 6:32." And just, I don't know, he just loved to argue. And if he wasn't winning the argument or he felt like you weren't hearing him, he would get in your face like inches and just scream at the top of his lung to try and get his point across. And then turn around and act like he was the victim. Like, you did it and he's the victim now. And everything is your fault. He never took responsibility for his actions. I remember when we would go out to dinner and it's time to pay the bill, and the first thing he would ask is there a military discount? And heaven forbid if the restaurant said no. This guy would throw a pitch a fit. I mean, he would start yelling, I can't believe you don't have a military discount. I risked my life and I can't even get a discount. And he would just go on, and me and my kids would be so embarrassed because I can't believe that this grown man is acting like this over a military discount. Um, when he got deployed and would come home, um, the kids and I were expected to praise him, worship him, and if we didn't, then the trip was very unpleasant because now we didn't appreciate him or the things that uh, yeah, we just didn't appreciate anything that he did. Um, and he made sure that we knew it too. I just come home and all I want to do is be appreciated, and you guys don't even care. And during that time, because it was so full of stress, I had so many health issues. Um, yeah, it was just a very stressful time. And so I learned to just hide. Um, I tried not to engage in an argument with him. I was always trying to find safe, comfortable conversations that wouldn't lead into this big escalate of argument or being belittled. Um, and at that time, I did have a business. And he would just say, I don't know why you're wasting your time. Nobody wants to hear from you. Nobody wants what you got. You're just wasting time and money. And being that type of person who was so innovative, go getter, uh, I had a reputation that if you needed something, Kim was the person to go to. She was full of resources, she had a lot of knowledge. So if you want something done, call her. And he would just beat me down if I did something, and if I did it and let's just say it didn't work out, see, I told you so. See, you just never listen. You you just you just got to do it the hard way. And it just was constant, 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 constant. And so, um, I don't know. I for a person who always smiles, I lost my joy. It was hard to smile. People around me knew that I was sad, even though I tried to pretend like everything was good. And it really wasn't. I was miserable, but I felt stuck because at the time, I had all these health issues going on, um, even including I had to learn how to walk again. It took about, I think, 3 months for me to learn to walk again. And
Mhm.
and he just acted like I was worth nothing because I couldn't help out around the house. And I just always felt worthless. Um, and it wasn't until the end of the relationship that I realized how that I was literally dying from the inside out.
Mm, yeah. The survivor mode, right? And that is a very, very, very powerful story. I just want to first recognize your strength and your resilience. I want to also let you know that we are here with you. There are a number of women that have experienced a number of trauma and traumatic experiences that they've got to overcome and press on and press through, despite what another person might try to do to sabotage you, to manipulate you, to undermine you, or basically to just rob you of your joy, as you said, Kimmisha. Thank you so much for that. I want to just thank my audience this evening. Welcome to another episode of Geek Talk. My name is Sabrina Lowery. I am the Tech Evangelist, and we are going to give entrepreneurs some expert knowledge. But I wanted Kimmisha to introduce herself and her backstory because, as our finale episode, we are sharing her story. Her story. There is history here, ladies and gentlemen. And as a consummate professional, I am here to let you all know Geek Talk is a conversation, it is a discussion, it is a social environment where we don't have to always geek out. Sometimes we share our stories and our journeys because, in just telling our stories, there's power in storytelling. If you'll recall, we had one of our previous guests, Nay Liggins, talk about the power of storytelling, Kimmisha. And so I want you to maybe lean into that a little more as you are getting your brand and your product messaging out there to your audience, right? So, in that survivor mode, right now, we're going to segue the conversation because now we know where that strength comes from. Now we know a little bit about Kimmisha's backstory. So, let's move us into the present. Let's talk about the now. Let's talk about what gets you excited each and every day, or who might have inspired you to this present day.
Well, my mom has always been my biggest inspiration and supporter. Unfortunately, she passed away about 23 years ago.
I'm so
But
sorry.
because of what she instilled in me, that is my motivation. Because she told me no matter what, always dream big, don't listen to other people, and don't allow other people to kill your dreams.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
she, she would always tell stories. So when I hit a valley, I could always encourage myself. So she would share stories of like Walt Disney and how when he took his friends out to Walt Disney World or Disney World and said, "Do you see? Can you see the vision?" And his friends looked at him like, "Man, you have lost your mind. I cannot believe you. You need to pull your head out of the clouds
Yeah,
and with reality, because whatever you're talking about is just not going to happen."
yeah, yeah. Well, I
And
thank you for that. And in honor of your mother, what was your mother's name?
Edith.
Edith. Well, we honor Miss Edith on this edition of Geek Talk, and we are celebrating women's herstory. And so, as a part of Kamisha's herstory, I want to just give honor to your mother, Edith. Let's continue our conversation. I'm excited to have you here talking with our audience this evening, Kamisha. Like I said, what gets you excited in the morning, present day? I know you mentioned a little bit about your project. Would you like to segue into that conversation and do a little screen share for us?
Yes. So, um, 5 years ago, I built a program. It was a manual program. And I remember I tried to sell it to the government, and it just, it just ended up being a lot of broken promises and, oh, nice, but no, we're not we're not going to do anything with this at this moment, or it's too expensive. Um, One reason or another, it just never happened. And then last year, I was like, oh my gosh, I could take this manual product and I can build a software that can help people, either DIY. I could sell it through coaches, counselors. And so I began building um, as I say, a Microsoft platform of different business wellness systems that will help entrepreneurs from the beginning to the end and through, so that through their entrepreneur journey, they can stay whole, including the mindset, because the mindset is a powerful thing. And oh man, if i- if your mind isn't healthy, then it's hard to have a healthy business. Um, so it all starts because I know that no one goes into business to fail. And the entrepreneur journey can be very exhausting on the mindset, because you have so many pressures coming to you from every direction, from growing the company, revenue, employees, whether they're good or bad. Um, there's, relationships, kids, um, and just all kinds of sacrifice. And because of that pressure, every 30 seconds, a business owner wants to give up, and not just on the business, everything, because that pressure is just so tremendous. And so, in knowing that 72% of businesses complain about mindset issues, which leads into 42% of those businesses actually closing. And a lot of times when you're a business, you feel like you're alone. No one understands what you're going through. Maybe another entrepreneur to a certain degree, but not all the way. Because sometimes there is an internal battle that goes inside of the mind. And when that battle is going on, not everybody on the outside can see what's happening. They may see um, the behavior, but they don't see why or what's triggering that battle. And this is one of the reasons why I believe, well, actually, statistics shows that suicide is the number two cause of death among entrepreneurs. And I strongly believe it's because of this constant battle that happens inside of the mind. And a lot of people don't know how to articulate what's happening. They know something is not right. Um, they know that uh, their mind is consumed by this battle. And a lot of times, if you feel like no one is listening, no one is hearing, no one is paying attention to what you're trying to tell them, it can make you feel like you have no hope. And when people lose hope, that's when they just want to give up. And some even go so far as committing suicide, which is extremely sad. And that's another reason why I want to tell the untold stories and bring attention to this, because it has a bigger effect on our communities. Um, and as you guys know, my story of the narcissist and forgetting who I was and trying to figure out, and I can personally attest to the mindset battle, because when I decided that I wanted to make a change, um, like do this, create this program and get it out to the masses, there was the fight between Kim and Kimmisha. Kim wanted to stay hidden. She just wanted to stay behind in her room, behind the computer, and just produce work, but never have to show her face. But then there is Kimmisha, who's like, no, let's get out there. We're not the same. Let's let's shake things up. Let's get moving. Let's impact lives. And Kim is like, no, 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 you can't. You can. It's too scary. It's too scary for kids. We can't go outside. And so um, there's that battle of no. Uh, and that's where the self-sabotaging, bad behaviors, like that song by Usher, I want to be good, but I just can't. And that's the battle that goes inside the mind. And the two were just duking it out. Who's going to win, Kim or Kimmisha? And so that's actually how I developed the pivot method. The pivot method. And I wrote a book called Your Mindset, Friend or Foe. And it talks about this whole thing, how you have a trigger in life that happens. Um, and I don't know, you guys can see Mr. Juggler over here trying to juggle everything in life. Um, but it triggers your mind to go into protection mode and survival mode. And that means that now your nervous system is going to make all your decisions for you because it needs to protect you. The human brain was built for protection, and anything it deems as a threat, your nervous system will protect you. So if you're wondering why you're doing things outside of your normal character, this is the reason why. So the good side of your brain is now in shutdown mode, while your nervous system is running amok, doing all kinds of craziness, causing chaos in your life, sometimes because of the decision that it decided to make. And everybody's looking at you all kind of crazy, like, what is this woman doing? Why is she doing this? This doesn't make any sense. Well, it doesn't make any sense to them, but to your nervous system, it makes perfect sense. Um, Things that we may even deem as so called strategy really isn't. Um, it's just another way your nervous system is making decisions for you. So,
Mhm.
and that's why you have your different reactions, whether it's rage. And what I did with my program, because I know people have a hard time articulating what's going on inside of their head, I created over 200 custom emojis to help you express how you are truly feeling. They say if you want to know how a person feels, create an emoji.
So I want to jump in right there, Kamisha, because I want to share with you an experience and then you apply that to your product so that we can demonstrate for our entrepreneurial audience and give them your expert knowledge so that they can connect with you and learn more and possibly do some one-on-one demos or group demos with their organizations. So there was excuse me, there was a situation where um excuse me, just one second. I completely lost my train of thought. Just full circle. Perimenopause brain fog is real. I do want you to know that. But it came back to me. I had a client prefer not to use emojis and called it unprofessional of me to communicate with emojis. So, with that type of a response, how do you then utilize these 200 emojis?
Well, I built the emojis for a couple of different reasons. But to answer your question, um, emojis are, everybody has their own opinion. But I do believe emojis give people freedom to say how they really feel without being judged. That is the value of emojis.
Mhm.
And the and one of the reasons why I took the time to create emojis that express how you feel, so that if you see an emoji, you could be like, oh my gosh, that's exactly how I feel. Even if it's just for that moment, you can recognize that's how you feel.
But
Because if you
in this
can,
case, so sorry. I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
oh no, go ahead.
Mhm. So what I was going to say, but in this case, if this client is saying to you they'd prefer not to use these emojis, are you saying that you would still use them, or you're saying in that client use case you would not?
Yeah, for her, I would not.
Okay.
Um, but what I did with the emoji system is you can use emojis to track your own um, emotions and zones. So I created 7 zones, which goes from crisis to regulated. And within those 7 zones, there are emojis that match it so that you can map your emojis. So if you're in a crisis mode, you don't want to make decisions. If you're feeling stuck, maybe it's not, depending on what you need to make a decision on, maybe you should delay that decision. Um, this way, because it makes a difference on the decisions that you make. So if you know where you're at, then you can make better decisions. So not only did I give you a map, but you have the option. Each emoji has a tracking system. So if you wanted the tracking system at the end of the week or every 2 weeks, you can have the emoji send you a report to let you know, okay, well, you use this emoji this many times, which means you could be feeling X, Y, and Z. And if you see over time that you're in constant crisis, then that can be an indicator that maybe you need some extra help, either through a coach or through professional counseling. Um, and that would help with feeling not feeling alone and isolated. And you can actually take this reporting to your counselor or coach and say, see, this is how I'm feeling all the time or most of the time. um, the emojis are also good if you are an employer. I can custom build emojis for the employer so that they can track how their employees are doing, so that they know what type of employee program they need to create. So let's just say, for instance, if your employees are using the overwhelmed um, emoji a lot, then that means maybe HR should do some switching either on schedules or um, create a certain health benefit, um, so that that person is not feeling overwhelmed or undervalued, which goes into employee retention. Um, Employees are using emojis anyway, so why not make it beneficial? It's also a good way to track um, and know if they have a threat on their hand. Because if somebody is always using the hostile or the anger one, that's a red flag. And the thing about the tracking system, um, it only goes to, in an employee situation, it only goes to the HR person. No one else has access to it. So there's different ways to do it, but people who are employers who are really into company culture, this is a way to boost their company culture because they know exactly what they need to design to keep it that way, nice and healthy.
Yeah, that's so powerful. This is some powerful information. Our audience is all the way tuned in. I just want to say thank you to everyone that is on our live broadcast of Geek Talk with Sabrina Lowery and my special guest Kimmisha Michels this evening, and we're talking about her new brand new product. I'm so excited for her, and as we segue the conversation, I believe there's a second piece to your product that has the creative music piece to it. Enlighten our audience and share a little bit about that.
Yes, so this program is extremely different in the sense of, one, I help you to recognize the patterns so that they can be interrupted, so that you can re-engineer and be it and be more mindful and resilient. But and then I gave you the emojis so you could put a face to your emojis. I mean, a face to your emotions. But then I created uh, Enliven Musicscapes, which takes you through the whole process. It helps you to recognize um, and process what you've been through in music, because everybody knows music can bring healing. And so the goal is to say, I recognize what triggered it. I help you to give it a face, but now I'm going to help you with the healing process. Um, which I have been getting very good, positive feedback on the music. Um, People who have had it, um, they have listened to one song for 3 hours straight.
That's
Last
awesome.
Friday, it was in a music listening group and got feedback on it too. But I created a song for every zone that you're in. So it's very different, very encouraging. None of it is derogatory. It's just saying, okay, let's break these generation cycles. Let's bring all the pain to the forefront so that we can recognize it and close the doors. Because if you got a healthy mind, then you can fulfill what your purpose with a clear mind and not constantly having to fight uh, your mind mindset. That is the end goal.
I love it. So this is what I'd like to do. I'm going to post Kamisha's email for everyone that wants to learn more about the music, about Kamisha's products, about her services, about how you can explore and experience this in person live for yourself, for your team as an entrepreneur, so that you can gain clarity about that social emotional and that emotional intelligence in the workplace. It is real. It is what we consider to be some of those soft skills, that human interaction and human engagement piece. You mentioned a little bit that maybe the HR department leaders are your ideal target audience. So I would like for us to just close out the conversation with just a little bit about, you talked about your pivot method. Everyone has your contact information there. There are the tools that she will share with you. You can learn more about this product. But again, for questions, Kimmisha, tell everyone how they can connect with you, whether it's on LinkedIn or otherwise.
Yes, feel free to reach out to me either by email, which is the Kim with two M's at enliven.agency. And you can also call the office at 813-724-1500. And of course, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn too. The one thing that I did forget, I created assessments to know where you are mindset, uh, your mindset, tolerance, and readiness. Yeah, it's a very different program, but one that is designed to reduce business failure 25 to 30% once it is implemented.
I love that. Thank you so much, Kimmisha. I want everyone to, again, excuse me for reaching, everyone to remember that Kimmisha Michels is another one of our contributing authors in the Ladies in Tech and Friends Volume 4, Building Careers Not Meant for Us. And I want to just segue very, very quickly into what your chapter title is. Let me just, I wish I would have been ready. I apologize, everyone. Let me get your page number here. Just one moment, Kimmisha. Okay, everyone, page 191 is our special guest. And I want you all to, here we are. Kimmisha Michels live in our Ladies in Tech anthology. You all can absolutely connect with her and her chapter, Breaking Barriers and Building Innovation, Creating Technology That Doesn't Exist Yet. And again, you can connect with Kimmisha on LinkedIn. You can grab a copy of the book and read her chapter. You can reach her at 813-724-1500. It is up on the ticker. And if you are not watching the podcast, then you are listening. And her email is KIMM at ENLIVEN.AGENCY. That is Kim M at enliven.agency. Any final thoughts about your chapter, about the book, about the book launch, about being a best-selling co-author?
Yes. I don't know. It's been an honor to be in the book and enter into the tech world and bring in solutions to people. I definitely want to bring a different perspective and a fresh approach to business or entrepreneurship, because I believe with the business environment changing as fast as it changes, that people need to build pivot systems within their infrastructure. And that's hard to do if you haven't been taught that.
I agree. I agree. I have thoroughly enjoyed our conversation on this final episode of our Women's History Month celebration all month long. This is the powerful conversations that I like to have. Those are those meaningful conversations that make you think and ask questions. Ask a little bit of questions, be inquisitive. I was always told growing up I was inquisitive. And so I love that, right? Never stop learning, never stop growing. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I again want to reintroduce or introduce you to Kimmisha Michels, our guest this evening on Geek Talk. Thank you so much for being here, sis.
Oh, thank you so much. Good night, everyone. I hope you have a blessed evening.
Take
And thanks
care.
for,
We'll talk to you all soon.
all right.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, I have absolutely enjoyed all 5 of our episodes this Women's History Month because it is all about empowering women. It is all about lifting as we climb. And here on Geek Talk, we give entrepreneurs expert knowledge. I hope you have enjoyed all of our special featured guests this month. I want to remind everyone if you missed the live stream, you can catch the replays on my YouTube channel. You can also go to the Sabrina Lowery Tech on Facebook page and on LinkedIn. You can connect with me and tune in on Tuesdays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the next episode of Geek Talk. This episode has been powered by Sabrina Lowery Enterprises. I would like to invite you to go to Sabrina Lowery Enterprises.com and learn more about all of our products and services for small businesses and entrepreneurs. Thanks, y'all. This has been absolutely amazing. Another fantastic episode of Geek Talk. And I want to make sure that you all know you can find us on Spotify. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and your favorite podcast platform. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Sabrina Lowery, the Tech Evangelist. Make it a great day. Bye bye.